Welcome to Living Consciously. I'm Carnes. This is my first show, and I am really excited about it. I can't wait to share with you what I've learned after 40 years of study and practice of something called universal principles of co-creation. I can't wait to help you live a better life, as I have learned to do. When I came into this teaching, 1975, I think it was, I was a single mother of two beautiful children on welfare. You know, it was the 70s, and some of our ex-husbands kind of took off, and we didn't get any child support. So there I was, really struggling. And then I heard about this teaching called New Thought. It's based on ancient wisdom, but it's a modern articulation. And it is so simple. Not necessarily easy. It takes practice, but it is simple. And I want to share with you today some of those simple ideas. Most of it, what I think you saw in the beginning of the show, it says, to learn how to think is to learn how to live. That's a quote from a man named Ernest Holmes, who was a great spiritual teacher in the 20th century. And he actually founded this particular version of New Thought that we call the science of mind. Ernest Holmes was a wonderful human being with a sparkle in his eye, and he had transformed his life, and all of his students had the same experience of things getting better. So who wouldn't want a better life? More health, wealth, love, joy, peace, compassion, all the things that we innately feel belong to us, but how to get them. So it isn't just about thinking. That's a really big part of it. But mostly, this is a secret. Mostly it's about how you think about yourself. You know that TV show, Who Do You Think You Are? Where they trace back people's ancestors and they go, my 7th grandfather and my 8th grandmother back. What if, think about this, what if you went all the way back to the beginning, before there was any of those people? What would be there? The I, the field of intelligence, out of which all life came. I was watching Deepak Chopra the other night, and he has a new book out called You Are the Universe, which is a pretty cool title. But in it he said, and this is really interesting, and think about this in terms of yourself. He said, with our modern technology in medicine, we can look inside a human body and see everything that's going on. We can look at your brain and see everything that's going on. But the one thing we can't find in there is you. Isn't that funny? You're not in there. You're not your body. And then he asked, who is the I that you call yourself? I am. I am Carol. I am female. I am living in Las Cruces. I am a happy person. I am mother. I am a grandmother. Who is that? And where is it? So this modern spirituality called New Thought places the I that you are, take a breath, outside of the body in a field of intelligence that actually is projecting itself as the body and using it as a vehicle for expression. That's not too far out in the world of quantum physics. In fact, it's kind of an old idea, but we see it now more clearly and we're able to talk about it. It's not as scary as it used to be. Because think about this. Where are your thoughts? They're not in your head. It feels like it, doesn't it? But they're not really. They come through the brain in order to be expressed, but they come from somewhere else. When you get a great idea, like music, composers, they hear the music. Where is it? It's in a field of intelligence that we can access. Now, how do you access it? Through your imagination. There was another great spiritual teacher in the 20th century. He went by one name, Neville. And he said, this is a very provocative statement, your imagination is the Christ in you. It is that self that is unconditioned by worldly experience. It is that aspect of you that can see through obstacles, that can, okay, look at it this way. When you imagine, let's say you have a cold. You can imagine health. You can imagine yourself being well again, yes? When you're struggling with money, you can imagine wealth. You can imagine being able to buy whatever you want. When you're unhappy, you can imagine being happy again. That's a faculty of mind that is one of the most important capacities we have, because it's our key to creating our own future. The future's not sitting out there waiting for us to walk into it. It's coming through us. In our teaching, we say nothing happens to us, it happens through us. You know, one of my students said, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean it happens through us and not to us? If I'm standing on the railroad tracks and a train is coming at me, it's happening to me. And of course, the only answer is, what are you doing on the tracks? You see, every choice we've ever made puts us right where we are right now. Put you in that chair you're sitting in watching me talk about these universal principles. Every choice, every decision, every idea acted upon created the moment we're now living in. So what we think about ourselves, our self-identity is so important. Now, I don't know about you, but I wasn't really taught to think that well of myself. Especially in my age group, I grew up in the 50s, where if you talked well about yourself, you were considered stuck up or conceited or something. But in today's world, I think we have a better understanding of how powerful it is for a child to grow up feeling good about themselves. But it's more than psychological. We need to have a sense of self that transcends psychology, transcends human experience, even upbringing. And that self-identity can only come when we rethink who we are, when we back it up. Imagine who you were before you were born. You know, one of the great questions of science today is, how does form, this, become conscious? But the bigger question is, how does consciousness become form? And that's what we're dealing with in this teaching that I'm sharing with you. How does an idea, I, take shape? It does it through the field of intelligence. And this is a scientific component to a spiritual teaching. This is where science and spirituality intersect, and they're walking hand in hand. Quantum physics is looking for the same thing that religion is looking for, that unified field, that one something that's being all. So let's talk a little bit more about how to shift our self-identity and use these principles to create what we want in our life. Let's begin. I'm just going to give you something simple to do, and maybe you're already aware of this, but it's always good to be reminded of these principles. I remind myself every day. It's so easy to go out in the world and look at what's happening and think that's the only reality. It's not. There's a bigger reality, and it's in here. It's who we really are. So try this. I am the joy of being. I am love in action. I am peace on the move. I am a prosperous being. I am now downloading a greater idea about my life and what is possible for me. You see, where do greater ideas come from? They come from that field, they come from our imagination, but in order to become real, and this is the big secret, they must have I am in front of them. You see, life, and you know, if you want to use the word spirit or God, you can. I call it life in its formless state that takes form. It doesn't give us what we need or want. It has a tendency to respond to who we think we are and corresponds and comes through us and moves us into action, and we actually co-create our experience. So thinking about what you want, that's fine, it's fun, but it's much more important to rethink who you are. Who am I in this universe of intelligence and love? You know, it's unconditional. Some of the more traditional teachings taught this, but in language that doesn't really apply to us today. It's not our language, and it's a little bit old-fashioned, but it was there. And one of the master teachers was the man named Jesus. And he taught, it is done to you as you believe. You see, this is what we're saying here. As we believe about ourselves, as we hold ourselves to be, we want to raise our spiritual self-esteem. And remember, I am an expression of that one life that is being all life. In our teaching, we say God made everything out of itself by becoming the thing it makes. In other words, it's being you, this universal awareness, the great I am, the I am that preceded all life, that erupted into the universe and became visible. What I know about great ideas, and you're one of them. Did you ever think you were a great idea in the mind of God? Well, you were. The mind of God is a funny statement because God is not a man in the sky, as far as I can tell. But we made that in our image and likeness in order to relate to it. But what's true about us is that we are a great idea arising out of that field for the specific purpose of expressing what it is. So if God or life or spirit made everything out of itself by becoming the thing it makes, then the qualities that we attribute to the divine are our qualities. And what are they? Love, peace, joy, intelligence, supply, and creativity. And all of those things, when you think about it, we innately know those. We innately are aware of those qualities, even when we're little kids. And they turn themselves, they transmute themselves into human experience. Love, the great field of love. We're not talking about Valentine love. We're talking about a cohesive power that brings things together that belong together and maintains them in harmony and balance as long as that love is present. That love, that universal love, it holds the planets in orbit, and it's all through nature, everything interacting interdependently. That's love. In the human experience, it becomes relationships of all kinds. And the spectrum of love goes from indifference to oneness. But along the way, there's friendship and affection and commitment and true love. All of those things are love. Even indifference is a form of love. But on the spectrum, we move along according to our self-awareness of which one of those is really us. Are we capable of great commitment, great truth? Of course we are. So love turns itself into relationships of all kinds, and it continues to evolve by means of us, by means of our use of it. Well, vitality is one of the qualities of the universe. It's raw energy. In the human life, it becomes health. The vitality of circulation, of things functioning perfectly, the combination of intelligence and the raw energy creates this body that runs itself. You know, the first time you cut your finger when you're a little kid, your mother gives it a kiss, puts a Band-Aid on it, it heals itself. That's the vitality and intelligence doing what it knows how to do, keeping this system functioning. So love becomes relationships. Vitality becomes your personal experience of health. And joy becomes this energy of a delight in being. I want you to say something out loud right now. Even if you don't feel it, just say it out loud. I love being me. I love this life I'm living. See what that does? It quickens the energy. You can feel it. If you really let yourself shout it out, you can feel the quickening of the energy in your own body. And this is what affirmations do for us. They change our mind about us. I've got some more to tell you, but right now we're going to take a little break. We have some wonderful sponsors that have a special message just for you, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you the secret to getting what you want.
Welcome to La Buena Vida Women's Club, located away from the crowds but close to home. Come in throughout the day for Jazzercise, the world's dance fitness leader for nearly 40 years. Treat yourself to a relaxing massage, or unwind in the lounge area or outside on the balcony with friends. La Buena Vida Women's Club, located and designed with women in mind. For information, call Diane at 650-9721.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Attention homeowners, apartment complexes and business parks and homeowners associations. Now is the best time to make your property beautiful again. Since 1967, Gonzalez Landscaping has offered beautiful professional landscaping services to all of southern New Mexico. Our team has been designing and installing landscapes for over 47 years. Where quality is an obsession, Gonzalez Landscaping is locally owned and operated. We are licensed commercial, residential specialists dedicated to providing reliable and quality service. We offer residential and commercial landscaping design, full lawn, tree and shrub care, with annuals and perennials, tree and palm trimming, spring and fall cleanups, mulching and more. Let us do the work at prices you can afford. We service all of Las Cruces. We are New Mexico's premier commercial landscaping and residential landscaping company. Visit us online at gonzalesnursery.com or call us for a free estimate. 575-382-7272.
All right, we're back. I told you I had a special secret for you. This is a practice, and it is something you can start doing today, and you'll see the results. It's very simple. Don't resist, persist. Every day I write a blog called Living Consciously, and you can pick it up on my website or the Mesilla Valley Center for Spiritual Living website. I wrote one this week about this. I just want to share a couple of ideas from it. If we push against what is now in our experience that we don't want, and I know everybody has something in their experience they don't want, but what that really means is you're ready for it to evolve or expand or heal or transform itself into some new version of itself. For example, from indifference to oneness. So everybody has that. So don't get down on yourself if you have something in your life that you want to change. It's the nature of things. All right? If you push against anything, what do? You prop it up. You hold it in place, right? So don't resist, persist in imagining what you do want. And put yourself in it. Put yourself in the center of that image and feel it as if it were already so. Because it is. It is already so in that field, or you wouldn't have thought of it. Let me read you a couple more sentences from this particular little article I wrote. It said, hold the image lightly, feel the energy of your achieved desire, revel in it. You know, I think it was Goethe, the German philosopher, who said, have a big dream, but put yourself in it. That, a lot of the times we don't. It's sort of a vague idea, but we're not in it. You want to feel it. Something always precedes an experience of any kind. And what is it if not an idea? It's always an idea that starts the shift from what is so now to what you can have. I mentioned Ernest Holmes earlier. He used to say this, give me 1,000 people who are for something and against nothing, and we can change the world. Well, let's be for something in our own lives. Let's be one of the 1,000 or the 10,000. I think that's a really great vision and goal for our world right now. But it's a practice. If you watch yourself during the day, and I do this too, you'll find yourself pushing against something. And right now, there's a lot to push against in the world, right? Things are not as great as they could be around the world. We've got problems with polluted water. We've got climate change. We've got starving people. We've got all kinds of stuff that we need to really look at. But let's don't push against it. Let's persist in a vision of a world that works for everyone and begins with ourselves. So here's another thing to remember. Things do not happen by themselves. There's always a cause, and the cause is always in the field of awareness, of imagination, of mind. Everything we look at, everything from what I'm wearing. Okay, here's my little book. From my book to my shoes was an idea first, wasn't it? Everything was an idea first, and someone brought it through them. So what brings our ideas into our experience is the power of I am. So rather than push against something about I don't want that. Say, I am. And then express exactly what you do want. I am now living in the ease and flow of natural abundance. I receive my wealth from many avenues. And just allow yourself to feel that rather than think, oh, I'm so tired of struggle and lack. Think, I welcome having ease and flow in my life. I welcome opportunities to generate more income. I welcome gifts and windfalls and winnings, wherever it comes from. It's all an avenue through which life is attempting to correspond to your belief about yourself. I am a wealthy person. See, say that out loud. I am wealthy. I have everything I need when I need it. And if you're Christian, Jesus said that. He said, before they call, I answer. He said, we have what you need before you know you need it. Some version of that, I'm paraphrasing it. One of the great teachers of the 20th century, Raymond Charles Barker, said, prosperity is the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And it's not stockpiling, it's not hoarding, it's not greed, it's flow. Abundance, ease, and flow. So this little practice is something anybody can do. You don't have to have had a lot of training in the power of mind or thought. You just start right now. Let go of the desire to push against something and instead don't push the panic button, push the pause button. When you're up against it, push the pause button, stand still and know. I am one with the same power that created this universe out of itself. That power is my power. The qualities of that power are my qualities. I am love, I am joy, I am peace. I am prosperity, I am vitality, I am creative mind. We are all those things. And this is what the master teacher meant when he said, the kingdom has already been given, it is spread upon the earth, and you cannot see it. You know why we can't see the kingdom? Because it isn't out there, it's in here. Everything we desire is in here first, it's not out there first. Life doesn't happen this way. I know it seems like it, because we're in a time-space dimension and things take form and we experience the flow of time, but actually it's coming this way. Life is not about the law of attraction, that's a misnomer, about attracting things. It's about generating them, coming through us, by means of our self-identity. I am so thrilled that you tuned in today because I know these ideas can transform your life as they did mine. If you want to meet us in person, and I'd love to meet you, come with us to some of our events. We have a Tuesday night group meditation at our classroom and office, which you'll see the address come up shortly. I'm starting a new class on Wednesday nights in April about Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was one of the greatest influences in our teaching. Get on our website or call me and we'll talk more about that. It's a joy to teach this work and to see people light up. Our Sunday experience is at 10:30 at the Mesilla Community Center on Calle de Santiago. We would love to see you there. Everyone is welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living in Mesilla. It doesn't matter what religion you were raised in, or even if you're still practicing it. I once heard a Christian priest, a monk actually, say this: if it weren't for Buddhism, I wouldn't be such a good Christian. Isn't that an interesting statement? So we find that people from many faith traditions have a sense that our teaching has just added something, or perhaps just opened them up to a deeper understanding of their own faith. But anybody's welcome, all lifestyles, and it's very casual. I've kind of stripped down the Sunday morning to make it a little less traditional. For example, we don't pass the hat. We have a prosperity bowl, and if you want to support us financially, you just put your envelope in there. We start with a meditation, a group meditation. I'm going to do a whole show on meditation. It's the best kept secret on the planet and the most beneficial thing you can do for yourself. But then we have a spiritual mind treatment, and I'm going to teach you what that is as well. And then I do a talk, something like I did today, but usually with a little more of a theme. And afterwards, we have questions and answers. So you can ask me anything, or you can make a comment about anything. And by the way, if you want to email me and ask a question for our show, it's mvcsl@outlook.com. Send me some questions. I'd be happy to answer them on the air. Now, if you're going to write me and tell me what a crazy lady I am, I'll just ignore it. But I will answer your real questions. I also want you to know that I've written a book. This is an old copy, but it's still good on the inside. It's called The Way In. And you can get this book on lulu.com or Amazon. I noticed the other day Amazon had a couple of used ones, very inexpensive. But what it is a daily living consciously essay. I've been writing those essays since 2005. So we collected some of them a few years ago and put them in this book. And so every day is self-contained, and it's kind of a little inspirational message that I think you'll find very useful. So access our website and be happy. Don't resist, persist, and watch what happens. I think you'll have some wonderful results this week. It's been my great pleasure to share my ideas with you, and I hope I'll see you back here next week for another edition of Living Consciously. In the meantime, peace and many blessings. Bye for now.